Okay, so you know how we were talking about that Love Unplugged podcast?
Mm-hmm.
Well, get this. Today we're taking a deep dive into one of their biggest questions.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
You know, the whole is love a feeling or a choice thing.
Oh, right. The age-old debate. I'm in.
It's from an episode they called The Nature of Love, and honestly, it's pretty mind-blowing.
I can imagine. What kind of stuff were they looking at?
Well, they cover a lot of ground, everything from like the science behind attraction
Oh, interesting.
to, how different cultures view love.
Right, right.
It even gets into like how our expectations are shaped by things like movies and social media.
That's a big one these days. So where do they even start with all that?
So first, they acknowledge that love, well, it takes on all sorts of different forms.
Yeah, absolutely.
Romantic love, friendships, family bonds, even self-love.
And I bet they point out that it probably differs between those types.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like the mix of feeling and choice might look totally different depending on the kind of love you're talking about. Makes you think about your own experiences.
For sure. Like, is choosing your friends the same as choosing to stay in a romantic relationship?
Exactly. So then they jump into the whole feeling side of things, the like swept off your feet kind of love.
Ah, the romantic stuff.
They actually bring up a crazy story.
Oh, tell me.
Apparently there was this couple who like bumped into each other at a coffee shop.
Right. Actually, I've heard this one before, haven't I?
Maybe. But anyway, they lock eyes and bam, instant overwhelming connection.
Whoa, really? Like love at first sight.
It sounds like it. And of course, Love Unplugged digs into the science behind it.
Yeah, there's got to be some kind of chemical reaction happening there.
Totally.
Here.
They talk about all those hormones that flood your brain when you're falling in love, like
Oh.
oxytocin, which like creates feelings of trust and closeness.
Ah, yes, the cuddle hormone. I've heard about that.
Right. And then there's dopamine, which is all about pleasure and reward. That rush you get from new love.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's pretty wild. But then the show shifts gears and starts looking at love as this deliberate act.
So less about the feeling and more about the choice.
Exactly. They talk about how choosing to love someone involves like ongoing decisions,
Like what?
like choosing to trust them, to respect them, to compromise, things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's about actively participating in the relationship.
They had another story, totally different from the coffee shop one.
Mhm.
This couple, they were going through a really rough patch.
Oh, no.
Lots of arguing, misunderstandings, the whole 9 yards.
Ugh, been there.
But instead of giving up, they decided to, like, double down on their communication.
Huh, interesting. How'd they do that?
They started scheduling these weekly check-in dates just to talk.
Really?
And guess what? It ended up making their connection even stronger than before.
Wow, that's really cool. It shows that even when things get tough, you can still choose to work through it together.
And it makes you think, right? Maybe love isn't just about that initial spark.
Definitely. Like maybe it's more about what you do after the fireworks fade a bit.
It's like that whole love is a verb idea.
Oh, yeah. Actions speaking louder than words. I like that.
Love Unplugged had this other example too. This couple, their initial passionate love actually grew deeper over time
How so?
because they were both committed to putting in the effort, to really understand each other.
That's beautiful. So it's like even intense feelings need to be nurtured.
It seems that way, and it reminds me of how differently cultures see love. Like, think about arranged marriages.
Oh, right. In some cultures, that's totally the norm. Love is expected to come after the commitment is made.
Exactly. And then you have other cultures where it's all about finding the one, like romantic love is the ultimate goal.
It's crazy how much our cultural background shapes our views on love.
And then there's media. I mean, movies, books, social media.
Oh, don't even get me started.
It's like we're bombarded with these perfect, idealized versions of love.
That probably sets people up for some unrealistic expectations.
Totally. It makes you wonder if we're even experiencing love for what it is, or if we're trying to force it into some mold.
Yeah, are we letting ourselves feel it authentically or just trying to recreate what we see in movies and stuff?
So after all this back and forth, what's the verdict? Is love a feeling or a choice?
Well, Love Unplugged doesn't really give a straight answer.
Which I guess is kind of the point. It's more about getting us to think about our own experiences.
Yeah, like where have you felt both those sides of love in your own life?
Right. And they actually encourage listeners to ask themselves that. When has love felt like a deliberate decision for you? And when has it felt like pure emotion?
It's a really cool exercise to like unpack what love really means to you.
So yeah, maybe there isn't one right answer. It's more about embracing all the different ways love shows up.
It's messy, it's complicated, but it's definitely an adventure.
This whole conversation has been pretty wild. We've gone from hormones to culture to media, and it feels like we barely scratched the surface.
It's true. Love is so multifaceted, there's always more to discover.
And maybe the biggest takeaway is that love, whatever form it takes, is a journey.
A constant exploration.
So here's the thought to leave you with. If love is a verb, a thing you do, what action can you take today to bring more love into your life?
That's a good one.
It could be for a partner, a friend, family, even yourself. Keep loving, keep exploring, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.
Yeah.